Probably heard of the clarinet or the trumpet, but one of the lesser known instruments, and personally I think the better one, is the baritone. You've probably heard the nice warm sound of the baritone before. Anytime you're listening to a band and you can hear that deep warm tone, that's the baritone. I chose to play the baritone because I loved how it sounded, and it's also very easy to play and has a very large range. When I first joined Litchfield Band, I started playing the trombone. It's very similar to the baritone in like its sound, but it functions completely differently. It's basically just a large tuning slide the trombone is, and then the baritone has valves. I wanted to try something new, so I played the baritone. Today, I'm going to be talking about how the baritone works, the history of the baritone, and how to play the instrument. So the baritone's a nice instrument, but I think it's important to know where it comes from. The earliest form of the baritone was called the serpent because it was roughly shaped like a snake. It was made of wood and had a mouthpiece that generated low tones. It had holes, but it couldn't play chromatically. In the 1820s, the creator of the saxophone, Adolph Sax, was experimenting with the tenor range, and then he ended up creating his own valve instrument that's known as the baritone sax horn. That's the base for the modern baritone, and then it's just refined until it became what this is today. Many people use the term baritone and euphonium interchangeably, but they're different things. Baritones are usually smaller and have 3 valves, and then the euphonium is more conical and usually has 3 to 4 valves and it's larger. So I think this would be considered a euphonium, I guess, not a baritone. British models usually have an upward facing bell, so that this would be a British model. And then American models usually have a bell that points slightly forward. David Verdon is a famous baritone player that served in the U.S. Guard Band for 26 years. And then another famous one is the baritone soloist, David Childs. All of these people are professionals, but I think it's important to know how the baritone works before you can actually play it. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to show you is the valves. So this valve's gonna, all of them correspond with different notes, and then I'm gonna show you how to oil them. So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna twist this off, and then kind of just make sure it's twisted off all the way. Then you're gonna open up your valve oil. I'm using synthetic valve oil, which is usually used for silver instruments, but it can be used for anything. Even these instruments, it just works better for silver ones, but you just want to make sure you use like the same one all the time. So let's say you have your used regular valve oil on this and then you use synthetic, that's not good for it. Then I'm just going to lift it up a little bit and then squeeze a little bit of the valve oil on there, and then you're basically just going to move it up and down like this to get like it all over the valve. And then you screw it back on. And then this valve is ready. I don't know if I'm going to do all of the valves, but you basically just do the same thing for the rest of the valves. So then there's also the tuning slides, which tune the pitch of the instrument. This one corresponds with the first valve, which is this one. This one with the second valve, and then I actually don't know where the one for the third valve is, but this one's for the fourth valve. And then this one tunes the whole instrument. And then you want to make sure that that's lubed up so it moves easily. This one's not really lubed very well, it doesn't move. So then you're going to take your slide grease. Then you basically just take a little bit of this and then you rub it on here. And then you're basically going to do the same thing with it. You're just going to move it up and down. So then it is able to move guess. This one's not really working very well, but you want to try and get it like all over it. And depending on like where you have this positioned, it'll tune the baritone like up or down. So I think pushing in is tuning up. It's like going sharper, and then pulling out is going to make the tone flatter. And then there's also the spit bows. What these do is they just empty the spit out of the instrument. It's kind of in the name. They empty the spit out of the instrument so it doesn't sound like blotty, and just so it sounds good. Now, after prepping the instrument, I'm going to show you how to play a B-flat standard scale. So you're going to take your mouthpiece, you're going to put it in the instrument, and then you're going to take your lips, kind of go like this, make a buzzing sound. And then the slower you buzz is like the lower tone, the faster you buzz is higher. So the first note of the B-flat scale is B-flat, which should sound like this. And then you're going to just go to a C, which is 1 and 3 down. And then 1 and 2 is a D. And then E flat is 1 down. And then F is open, but higher, so you're just not buzzing as slow. And then you're going to go to a G, which is 1 and 2. And then an A natural. And then back to B flat, which is the top of the scale. So that's basically like the one thing that you need to know to be able to play the instrument. Scales are really important for like practicing the instrument, playing the instrument. Probably one of the most important things if you're trying to learn a new instrument. In this speech, I showed you the history of the baritone, how it works, and how to play a scale. The baritone is one of the coolest instruments I've played, and I think that with a little practice, anyone could be a pro. I hope I've inspired you to pick up the baritone. Thank you for listening to my speech.